Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the fact that people, especially PlayStation executives, are going to say that the PlayStation is just done. It's plateaued, it's barely ever going to get better. Obviously, it'll run a little bit better GPUs, etc. But on the take of what they're saying, not me, what they're saying is that this console hit a tech plateau. It will never be better than what it has already been, and it's pretty much made every single game a better game already. And I'm going to go and kind of disagree, but also kind of want to hear him out, because anyone who's literally worked at PlayStation itself probably does have at least a little bit of a take that we should at least discuss. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on here. As well, we do have our brand new giveaway going on for $500 a PS5 Pro or Switch. Link down below, so make sure you guys enter on that one. So put the notifications here, or our second channel. We've been making a bunch of random drama videos on the second channel, as you guys probably know if you guys are interested. And I'll probably do a lot more Twitch and VTubing stuff on there. We'll probably keep everything normal here, so you guys can see my lovely face probably. Hi. But anyway, let's go talk about some good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean maybe bad. So the ex-PlayStation executive has now said that Sony can't keep increasing the graphics power with new consoles after every brand new tech plateau. But the PlayStation 5 has already just made almost every single game a better game. Kind of weird wording, as you could probably tell. So what they're trying to say high level is that we pretty much cannot get better graphics. And I'm going to somewhat actually agree to an extent. Obviously, I think the next big focus when it comes to graphics is things like ray tracing, making the game feel more dynamic, alive. Think like seeing flowers that you're walking by have more real-time physics, like physics engines. Say for games like Battlefield, buildings explode and fall apart. Stuff like that is a big deal and a big thing to go and note. Another big thing to also care about too is say things like hair, water effects, lighting effects. I always bring that up on my channel, and that can get better with more of engine-based stuff. But typically engines that are running all these simulations all at once take a lot of computing power, a lot. Things like ray tracing are very taxing on your consoles or your PCs, and it's a big deal. And same thing too with hair physics. It's do you really want to go and lose maybe 20 frames so someone could have glistening, moving, flowing sands of hair? Probably not, probably not. There's priorities that people want to set. Or as well, even big game companies, PlayStation Studios, Ubisoft, EA, whoever, may not also want to go and spend all this time implementing things like hair physics, flower physics. And although it makes the game beautiful, and maybe we'll see that for something, say, from GTA 6, because that game, even Red Dead Redemption now, people are slowly finding out that people are still living and breathing in that world, and there's crazy physics and there's cool things you can do in the game that are there's literally, I think, electrical lines that if you go and you break the electrical line somehow, or it leads towards actual buildings, it actually is throughout the entire map. And it's a proper connectatory thing. It's cool. Or the train system, everything. That's the beauty of a game company that actually cares. So yes, graphics might have maybe plateaued in the traditional sense, and I'm sure they'll get a little bit better over time, smidgen. But it's one of those diminishing return things. So let's go, that's kind of my first take on this. But Shuhei Yoshida says that he can't even tell the difference right now between all his brand new tech. And I think that's a little bit of a lie. I think if we were to look at games, or even right now, we could probably, I'll show you guys in a second. So you know how this old song goes? I have no idea how the old song goes. What is the song? Let's see. Ella F and, okay, I know Louis Armstrong. But am I going to get roasted if I don't know the song? I'm going to try not to get copyright by YouTube. Never heard the song before in my entire life. If you have, let me know down below. They're saying, hey, I just you say 120, I say 60, you say ray tracing, I say I'm so bored. So that's what it might be now that the multiple industry leaders, including former PlayStation Indies head Shuhei Yoshida, agree that the gaming technology has hit a big brick wall. Graphics have almost hit the level that even I cannot tell the difference between some of the graphical capabilities, like ray traced or not ray traced, unless it's side by side or even a higher frame rate. Yoshida says during a recent episode of Skill Up's Frames Per Second podcast. Not long ago, former Sony CEO Sean Layden also expressed a very similar sentiment, wondering how many of us can really tell the difference between 90 frames per second and 120 frames per second. Even PlayStation design consultant Mark Cerny, who's worked with Sony and basically has made these consoles himself, has said that he feels like the current approach to ray tracing and lighting has basically reached its limit. Now, I'm going to go and show you guys some, this is from Digital Foundry, just from Ghost of Yotai and, some of the gameplay, ray tracing on and off, just for, something to look at in the background. I want to chime in, because they do have some truth to this. As you guys can probably even see from the back and forth over here, it's like it's literally night and day. Well, not really night and day, but more so like it's just you could tell a change. But like you can see, there's not that much of a difference. Look, like if you literally are staring at this, and I am, I'm seeing like little bits and pieces of like shadows. They look nicer. Like it does look better. Like it feels a little bit more detailed, sure, but like can you really fine tune almost anything on this? Like truly, truly. So I think the biggest thing I can kind of highlight for you guys is like, look at this jar. Like look right here where my mouse cursor is. You see how there's like this kind of darkness, this kind of a generic darkness. And as it puts the ray tracing on, keep your eyes right here, you can go and see that it kind of turns more like realistic. Like the lighting itself seems a little bit more of like a realistic vibe. And we have the pausing. This is the ray tracing off on the left, on the right. Like it just seems a little bit more like more depth. It looks slightly nicer. There's more like grays and blends to it, etc. Say like look at the pot. It's like a little bit more blended. So instead of pure black to like kind of more of a gray to like it's like a 3 color scheme, there seems like there's maybe 4. But there's a little bit more of a blend in, you know, you can kind of see there's a little bit more like textures and details intertwined. It looks a little bit more realistic. Same with like the colors on here. Instead of it just being like a pure black, it like blends in a little bit better. Now, I think this is almost supporting what they're saying. Now, obviously I like ray tracing. I like improvements. I don't mind the AI making our games run better, getting us better frames, looking overall nicer. But there is actually like, this is like not that big of a difference. And I'm like a big PS Pro fan. I kind of, you know, chill for it, sure. But you can tell that like they're kind of telling the truth. Like what can we do next? Like obviously better face details. Like I said, ray tracing, it's physics engines for sure. AI to go and basically make the games run in higher frame rate. Frame rate's gonna be a big deal for sure. But like, maybe they're right. Maybe these consoles are pretty much plateauing out in terms of pure graphics. And kind of goes like the marginal increases. Like look at say like a GameCube game. Or like an N64 for the first time. NES, 2D games mostly. N64 finally had enough like of an engine to make the games 3D. It was a huge difference. And obviously look at how the games look now. Like there was a big marginal jump. But I'd probably say from like PS3 to PS4 was the last biggest jump we've seen. Whereas notably, like I can notably tell you when the game is a PS3 game based on the style. Some PS4 games and some PS5 games, if they're bad, like right next to each other, I could probably tell the difference. But if it's just by itself and I had to say with 100% certainty, I don't think I could. I really don't think I could. And they actually, I think, all have a point. Because really, where do we go next? Like, I do agree, AI, optimizations, bigger games, etc. Like, we could still expand the game, like having more people on a screen, having more details and stuff. But sometimes games don't even do that. And that's why people love GTA, because they spend the money to have all these individual details, like custom modded plants and pots and desks. But not every game company has that. They're all using Unreal Engine 5, which is its own separate story. And it's kind of a crazy topic because really, where do we go from here? Where do we truly go from here? And other various games are just like, they're good, but they're not like hitting the full level that we want. So they're kind of continuing out the article too, saying Yoshida says that PlayStation, they clearly just want, they just cannot do the same thing that they've been doing, which is just increasing the graphics power and providing a high-end experience. With the super heroic power of the PS5 though, that may not be the worst thing ever. Yoshida explains, I think the PS5 is an amazing system in terms of quality of experience. I think the adoption of SSD was almost a miracle. I think the PS5 and the SSD has made almost every game a better game, he concludes. So a little bit of a weird kind of article because there wasn't as much depth into it, but I kind of see what they're saying. Is that right now we hit this peak. Like the SSD makes games load instantly. So how can we load even faster? Besides expanding the scope of games and making like a bigger open world game that loads faster too. Like that's a possibility, sure, but it's not really changing stuff. How can we make the games look nicer? Looking on the screen, it really, unless you're really looking, it's getting hard to see the difference. And I do want a PS6, and it will have a better GPU, better CPU, and obviously better PSSR, which it really is maybe on performance is our next big step. But then what happens after that? Like the PS6 will have movement for sure. And we'll have the PS6, like I said, run more efficiently, have ray tracing and AI run better in the backside. But after all this is good, and now like the graphics are even better, the frames are running at like 200 frames per second. Is there really that much more difference again from like a 240 frame game versus 300? Not really. Honestly, not really. But we can see the difference between a 15 FPS game and a 60 FPS game, no problem. But there is getting the points where there's so many marginal returns, where is it even really worth it? I'd be kind of curious to see. Obviously, we're not there yet. We're not 100% done with gaming and expansions of gamings, but it does kind of seem like we are hitting this point where it's more marginal than ever before. And I think there's still improvements, AI, shadows, physics, as I mentioned throughout this video, but I think they do have some valid points that it might be a little bit like more at the end game. It might be a little bit more to that, getting close to that point. Unless you want to go like VR or augmented reality, which I think that's a completely different ballpark, and I'm kind of excited for it. A bit of a random side video on this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new, or leave a like. Don't forget, we do have our giveaway link down below in case you guys would like to join. We'd love to have you guys there, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for some more brand new videos.